آلود استادیوم.
Israeli aviation has struck a group of Iranian long-range drone launchers on the territory of a hostile country. Footage and details of the operation were published on the Israeli Defense Forces website. For several days, Israeli army forces had been tracking the movement of a mobile group of SHAHED-136 long-range drone carriers and, according to the military, hit them as they were preparing to launch into Israel. The country's Air Force released a video from the aircraft's infrared optical station capturing the deployment of drone launchers and the destruction of several of them by precision strikes. Notably, shortly thereafter, footage of burned vehicles in the same position as in the video appeared online, which had the appearance typical of launchers. However, the video does not show any remains of drones inside the containers, which may indicate that they were hit after the UAVs were launched. Iran commenced large-scale launches of long-range drones at Israel immediately after the first strikes as a result of Israel's Operation Lion's Nation on June 13th. The IAF actively uses fighter jets and AH-64 Apache attack helicopters to intercept them. In particular, footage of an Israeli helicopter shooting down a drone with an onboard automatic cannon was released on June 17th. The day before, Israeli aircraft also struck the airport in Tehran, where Iranian F-14 Tomcat fighter jets were based. The published footage shows the destruction of 2 aircraft using unidentified weapons, most likely small-caliber air bombs or air-to-ground guided missiles. Also on June 15th, Israeli aviation destroyed the only Iranian refueling aircraft, a Boeing 707-3 J-9C, which could refuel fighter jets in the air. Dust and debris filled an Iranian state television studio, and an anchor rushed off camera Monday when an Israeli strike hit during a live broadcast, an hour after Israel issued a warning for the area of Tehran where the station is located. Sahar Imami, an anchor at the Islamic Republic of Iran news network, was seen hurrying off camera as the screen behind her cut out. People on set were heard saying, "Allahu Akbar," the Arabic phrase for God is great. The broadcast quickly switched to pre-recorded programs. Soon, Imami came back live from another studio and was seen speaking with another anchor. Images showed smoke and flames in the sky. The station later said that the building was hit by 4 bombs. Israel's defense minister took immediate credit for the attack. The Iranian regime's Propaganda and Incitement Broadcasting Authority was attacked by the IDF after a widespread evacuation of the area's residents, Israel Katz said in a statement. "We will strike the Iranian dictator everywhere." Esmail Baqai, spokesman for the Iranian foreign minister, condemned the strike, calling on the international community to demand justice from Israel for its attack on the media. "The world is watching. Targeting Iran's news agency IRAB's office during live broadcast is a wicked act of war crime," Baqai wrote on X. Videos circulating on social media show that the IRN building, known as the Glass Building, is still burning. There has been no official report on casualties from the incident. An anchor said on air that a few colleagues had been injured, but that their families should not be worried. The network said its live programs have now been transferred to another studio, which resembles that of radio studios. An hour earlier, the Israeli military had issued an evacuation warning affecting up to 330,000 people in a part of central Tehran that includes the country's state TV and police headquarters, as well as 3 large hospitals. The IDF has issued similar evacuation warnings for civilians in parts of Gaza and Lebanon ahead of strikes. The warning came on the 4th day of the conflict, when the Israeli military claimed it had achieved air superiority above the Iranian capital and could fly over the city without facing major threats. Iran, meanwhile, announced it had launched some 100 missiles and vowed further retaliation for sweeping attacks on its military and nuclear infrastructure that have killed at least 224 people in the country since Friday. So far, 24 people have been killed in Israel and more than 500 injured, Israeli officials said, after Iran launched more than 370 missiles and hundreds of drones. The Committee to Protect Journalists said it was appalled by Israel's bombing of Iran's state TV channel while live on air. Israel's killing with impunity of almost 200 journalists in Gaza has emboldened it to target media elsewhere in the region, Sarah Kuda, the Middle East representative for CPJ, said in a statement. According to the UN and CPJ records, Israel's campaign in Gaza has killed at least 173 journalists and media workers since October 2023. Israel is reluctant to accept Russia's mediation in its war with Iran, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said on June 17th, according to the Russian state news agency TASS. At the moment, we see reluctance, at least on Israel's part, to resort to mediation or pursue a peaceful resolution, Peskov claimed. Since June 13th, Israel has repeatedly carried out massive airstrikes against Iran, particularly the country's military leadership and nuclear facilities. The Israeli government justified the attacks by saying that Tehran was on the verge of creating a nuclear bomb. Iran responded by attacking Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv, which resulted in civilian casualties, including 5 Ukrainian citizens on June 14th. U.S. President Donald Trump on June 15th said he was open to the idea of Russian President Vladimir Putin mediating between Iran and Israel. He is ready. He called me about it. We had a long talk about it. We talked about this more than his situation. War against Ukraine, Trump said, according to ABC reporter Rachel Scott. The Russian president held separate calls with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on June 13th. During the call with Iran, Putin offered condolences for what the Kremlin labeled numerous civilian casualties and condemned Israel's actions as violations of the UN Charter. He later proposed that Russia could serve as a neutral mediator. Israel has not commented publicly on the Kremlin's offer, but Peskov's statement implies Tel Aviv's rejection. France has also dismissed the idea, with President Emmanuel Macron saying on June 15th that Moscow cannot be a mediator. Russia's ties with Iran have deepened since the start of its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Tehran has supplied Moscow with thousands of Shahed attack drones and ballistic missiles used in daily strikes against Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. Israel, which has historically maintained cautious relations with Russia and is home to a significant Russian-speaking population, has not joined Western sanctions against Moscow. As of June 16th, Iran's health ministry claimed 224 people had been killed by Israeli strikes, with Tehran alleging that 90% of the casualties are civilians. The figures have not been independently verified. Israel has not confirmed casualty numbers, but maintains that the strikes were aimed at preventing an existential threat. On June 13th, Kyiv expressed support for Israel, describing Iran as a source of instability in the region and beyond, citing Tehran's extensive military cooperation with Russia.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. He's doing the job every day.